Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Plat BAP. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out, help spread the channel, bringing in a new audience, and that's really good. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Oh, sorry guys. Okay. Okay, hopefully that's fixed there. Hopefully you guys have heard much of what I was saying up to this point. The key is going to be, hey, that's a long time to have left our cluster of teammates not getting healed. Our other partner support is a Mercy, and she's likely to pocket the Pharah. So we want to go ahead and, rather than just fire off, 4, 5, 6 bursts in a row here, we want to go ahead and make sure that we are getting that right click onto our group of teammates, especially while they were clustered, and we could have gotten all three healed at once. Yeah, now we're having to spend our lamp, and we just wouldn't have to do that if we'd weaved in like 2 more right clicks. Okay, leave. Obviously you all already liked it. I thank you guys for that. In case my audio wasn't there, please do like and subscribe, everyone. It really does help. Okay. I can live with challenging that rather than healing. Please immediately check if people need heals. And I really would prefer that Mercy gets to do more pocketing and you do more healing. Like, I want offensive shots mixed in there, but you're pretty hard on this. When someone's on you like that, very yes, defend yourself before healing others, but let's be careful. You don't need to be... Relative position to team. Team's not set up to hold this anymore. You don't really want to be in front here. You need to fall back at least to blue box. Like, that's what you got to do right here. Get yourself over to blue box. It'll be fine. Thank you, Plat. Why are we so aggro? We've decided that we're going to frontline, Zarya's going to give us the bubble, and we're going to challenge the monkey. I mean, it's kind of fun, but it's not right. Like, there's no reason that Pharah couldn't have double tapped you.
Let me show you how it's done.
This is just hilarious. So you've got the Mercy here, you were fighting that. You've got the Hanzo you're challenging. You've got the Ana here. Like, this is... Does this seem right? Does this really seem right to you? Do I have to explain this? I guess I will. So you're going to struggle more to heal yourself as BAP than you would other people. So you don't really want to be this frontliner. You want a little bit of space. You also don't have that great mobility. You have vertical mobility, but you don't have the ability to get away when something gets on top of you, be it a Winston, be it Pharah dives into you, be it a Diva, etc. You don't really want this frontline. Like, it's much better, honestly, where you should be playing at this point is going to be much more in like over here territory, something like this, where you can go, hey, I can still do stuff. I can lob right clicks. You could play at this angle if you wanted, where you can only heal. You could play at this angle where you can do a bit more both. You could play here. This would be aggressive, but this would like be the limit of how aggressive your positioning can be. This is just like, you take a lot more risk to get the reward of being able to shoot people, but like 5 of them can shoot you and Pharah at once. Like, you don't want this 3v5 type situation. Yes, I know your Widow's helping back here, but you still don't want to be up here. You are not the front line. Please, please get this at least. We've got more real cover. Okay, I'm done. I don't care that it's working. Like, it won't continue to work. And you're soaking all the Zarya bubbles. Now, your Reinhardt's positioning or in poor places or not here. Where's your Reinhardt? Yeah, your Reinhardt is in places that aren't helpful, but those bubbles would still be better on your Pharah, to be perfectly honest. Your Pharah, as she dives into people, etc., than on you. And you're taking them by being there because your Zarya is reasonably worried about you. Right, guy? He's very in. Like, the Mercy was Valking, and he was getting the frontline portion of the Valk, not the backliner Valk. This isn't really a good spot either. Again, we would be perfectly happy to just chill back here. Back here, we can go, hey, I can shoot at my Zarya, small crosshair movement to get to the Diva. I can shoot at my Pharah. Probably not. Forget the Pharah. I can shoot at, well, not you. I can shoot at this. I can shoot at this, and it's small crosshair movements to get to these things, etc. And that's what you're looking for. Because as BAP, you want to position in such ways that you can weave shots, and you can weave shots easily. Because there's a delay between your right clicks, and you want to minimize that delay by filling it up uptime-wise with a single left click. So it's, I throw a right click at my Zarya, I left click the Diva. I throw a right click at my Rein, I left click the Winston. I throw a right click at my Rein, I left click the Winston. That's what you're looking to do. You need to position in places where that's practical, doable, etc. And you can still frisbee out a lamp from here, no problem. Whereas if you're up here, kind of becomes bigger movements of your crosshair, which, you know, it's doable from here, but it's bigger movements of your crosshair, but you're also just in more danger. The opponents are more on top of you. This Winston has easier access to you. This Pharah has easier access to you because she can shoot from above, etc. Okay, here we go. 2800, Plat. I need to rewatch that weaving. I was distracted. You're shooting? Why are you shooting again? Because that's purple. I'd have still preferred you'd thrown a right click for your Reinhardt here, because your Reinhardt's missing plenty of health. That can totally justify a right click. Yeah, that was 3 left clicks in a row while your Reinhardt is missing plenty of health. You want to get the left clicks between the right clicks. It's left click, right click, left click, right click. If someone gets critical, like your Zarya is, but she wasn't purple, you could potentially double up on right clicks to go, hey, it's a little faster, hey, I don't know where I have to worry about crosshair movements, etc. But once you get her back up to like 40% or so, 50% or so, then you switch back to alternating, etc. You're not contributing enough if all you're bringing to the table is your left clicks, or if all you're bringing to the table is your right clicks and lamp. You have to get both left and right clicks off, and pretty frequently you have to get both of them off. Okay, so this, unfortunate. You desperately wanted to right click there rather than have your reload. You can turn the auto reload off if you like so that that doesn't happen. Throw out one right click, second right click. So you do have to be careful when he's primaling because you are going to have to time, even if it causes you a little bit of delay around when he boops your Zarya, so you can tell where your Zarya is going to land. Because he is going to move your Zarya, so you do have to time it around his jump and knock speed, etc. Like there is a, 1.5 second cooldown on his jump, so you sort of know after he knocks Zarya away, you've got about a second and a half, you can tell where Zarya's arcing to is going to land, and you're going to throw the right click where the Zarya is going to land. Because you missed that one. That's way too many attack shots when your Rein could have used healing, your Zarya could have used healing. Look at how much healing could be going out here. And you're probably driving your Mercy absolutely insane as well as your tanks because your Mercy looks at this support comp and looks at this composition in general and correctly decides that her job is to pocket Pharah and maybe occasionally she'll help out Widow. and then assumes that what you're going to handle is these. And the reason she can assume that is because that is the proper division of labor for the support pair. Like, that's absolutely what each of you should be doing in this comp. That you're spending so much time attacking is just like, what? Now Mercy's come back and is trying to help out the Zarya, going, what is this? I could be boosting a Pharah or a Widow, which are both higher priority. Instead, I'm healing up a Zarya that's received like one native healing during getting thrown around by a Primal. That's stupid. And yes, it is stupid. You are expected to be the tank healer. You're a pretty good tank healer. Healing tanks is pretty good for you because you heal clumps with your grenade if brawlers are standing together, which is cool. And also, healing tanks. Tanks are generally close to enemy tanks, and it's very small crosshair moments. Or tanks are on top of enemies, very small crosshair moments to do exactly what your hero is designed to do, etc. So remember, we're trying to weave left and right clicks together. We're not going right click, or we're not going left click, left click, left click, right click, right left click, left click, left click, right click. Like, we're looking to go left click, right click, left click, right click. It's not like, let me shoot for 5-6 seconds, now I'll throw out a heal, maybe 2 heals, now I'll shoot for 5 or 6 seconds. No, it's one then the other, one then the other, one then the other. And if you start doubling, tripling up on stuff, it's because everyone's full health or someone is absolutely critical, etc. Now you could totally double, triple, quadruple up on throwing out right clicks because both of your tanks are, well, now your Zarya's been healed a little, but your Rhine's in such bad shape that you could be like right click, right click, right click, over to the Zarya, right click, and then go back to a left click, right click scenario. But you shouldn't even be in this situation. You had plenty of time to get your Zarya into better shape. You could have saved this Rhine. Like, this is just you left clicked too hard without thinking about, hey, you're a support, and the extra thing you bring is damage, but you do still need to bring a lot of that healing, etc. You need to bring both, and you just haven't been bringing the healing very well. Okay, do I have questions that I've missed here? Alice recently played with against this guy. Plat Bap review. Sometimes there's bronze games in Plat. Well, yeah, I mean, there's grouping, there's, grouping that you don't see, etc., that causes games to have more varied distribution, but this player is supposedly about 2,800.
Let them out.
I don't love it. Like, I feel like you were pretty behind in that fight, but it worked. Let's go back a little bit further. The window stayed. That window wasn't up yet, so that's funny. So they're primaling. I'm looking at this and thinking, hey, they just lost their mech, which is helping. You lose the Reinhardt that you didn't need to lose, but they've lost their Diva, so you're still potentially in this, and your Mercy has bailed you out by healing up the Zarya. Okay. And now you're going to go for this, and you're doing it while they're not looking. Sure, this is fine.
Let them out. It's you or me, brother.
Justice reigns.
Regen burst activated.
I'm not sure what that shift was for, but okay.
Let me show you how it's done.
Still not a frontliner. You have Zarya right here. You're still not a frontliner. Back here was fine. Back here was totally fine. You had cover available. There was a mini available if you wanted it. I'd have also accepted transitioning back up to here, but if you were like, no, I want to have the concave, I want to be here while my Zarya's here, that's fine. But I know that your Zarya is going to end up going up to point, so like, I'm pretty good with you not being the one on point. You just make yourself a more juicy target, and there's no reason for that. You can keep a Zarya up on point much longer than a Zarya can keep you up on point. Does that make sense? Or like, you can keep a Zarya up alone on point much longer than you can keep a Zarya up on point when also on point yourself. Good. Hey, position here.
Get in here.
So to realize. This is fine. I see that the Pharah's missing some health. I see the Diva going over there, but this is mostly fine. There's no one for you to heal besides your Pharah, and the Pharah's a hard hit for you. And you'd sort of expect, hey, my Mercy will get the Pharah, because that's usually what she'd be doing in this comp if I wasn't making her heal the tanks. You could try for a right click there. You could also have said, hey, maybe I'm going to right-click for my McCree, but I don't mind this. You're trying to keep them honest, trying to keep them off your fair. This is okay weapon play.
Get in here.
That lamp was never going to make it, but okay. Are you cleared of the threats that were here? I guess so.
I need healing.
Okay, you're immediately going to get a right click on that Reinhardt. Immediately. No, you did another left click. Excuse me, a right click. Yeah. What are you doing? Your positioning was fine. Do you want to play from server? I can live with that just for the angle, but I liked your positioning before better. McCree has the right idea. Play from here. No! No, no, no! No! No, please don't! Why are we pushing into the front line? Like, you know that's ahead of your tanks. I would prefer to have a Winston on my team controlling blue box, etc., but not having one doesn't mean that I go control blue box. That is clearly... No. No. Yeah. The only reason this was necessary is because you weren't here where you could go behind this, or here where you could go behind this. Like, this was not a good position. This was not a good position at this point. Like, this is where you play from. If you'd wanted to go cute and play server room and late peak, etc., and be like, hey, I guess that could have been okay. Not very good, but it could have been sort of okay. Like, this was your positioning. Or this. Could even have lived with this better than server, but like, no, we don't get to hold blue box when we don't, especially when we don't have any dive tanks holding it. This is. I'm more okay with that, Sire Sappy. Like, flanking is better than frontlining when you're on a support or some of these poke DPS, etc. Like, if you watched yesterday's Widow video, it was like, I was absolutely telling that Widow, yes, go over here, take this, go deeper over here, because, you know, the Widow was playing super conservatively. She's like up on minor high ground, etc., right behind your team, and I'm like, no, go around. It takes you just as long to go around this way, and you can save your grapple and hit this sharp, 100-degree angle on the opponents and grapple back if you get in trouble. Like, I'm okay with flanking. I'm less good with it on a support like BAP, where he sort of needs to be able to see his team, etc. But, there's times for it, just like there's times for it on Zen, where it's like, you know what? Frick it, we're gonna go hit this flank and it's gonna work, and it can. If you only do silly stuff some of the time and the silly stuff has a high payoff for high risk, that can work out, but it's not the default. Anyway, okay, back to reviewing that. Yeah. Again, this is all downstream of having positioned wrong to start the fight.
Honestly, it sounds cool.
10 seconds remaining.
It's high noon.
You don't want to push forward here. This is over. Okay, you're gonna push forward here. Fine. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Get in here.
Lamp. Fine. Window. Fine.
You all look like you needed some. Let them up.
Critical teammate. Critical teammate. Teammate missing health. All of them bunched together where a nade might get all three of them. We'll at least get two. Yes, the diva's in your way. Totally get that. Let's slow this down and watch our shot selection while we have the amp matrix up. And the amp matrix, it increases damage, but, it's also like, hey, we would really like to heal, etc. We need to heal. Our team is, we need to keep our people in this fight to stop this. Like, that's what we have to do. So we're slowing this down to half speed. We already took an offensive shot. I see that diva. That diva's annoying. I bet you I bet you we can get a right click right here. A right click right here would absolutely be huge. I'm not saying we win the fight off of it, but it's absolutely huge. If Diva doesn't get her matrix on it and it's not on us at this moment, fantastic. We should absolutely be throwing that right click. Okay. Instead, we're trying to take the Ana down. Now we show a right click, but it's too late. And now we're in left click mode, left click mode. You throw a right click at nothing. Okay, so you only had one great right click opportunity, but you missed it. Like, you missed it, and it needed to be like, the overwhelming desire to heal should have been here. We got one. Okay. The overwhelming desire to heal should be in your mind when you see 3 people critical like that. That doesn't mean it's to the exclusion of all else. Yes, if there's not a heal there and there's only offensive shots there, that's fine. But you missed the easy opportunity, and it didn't look like you were aggressively fighting to keep open that window to try to get a heal off, etc. So I'm disappointed because in general, you're leaning too hard on the aggression, the poke side, the do damage side, and not hard enough on the right click side. So like I can see that as a general thing, and then as a more specific thing, you're not weaving. So we've got issues. Things to fix, and your positioning is just a mess. Okay, so funny blah. Yeah, I don't think the life insurance policy is a good reason for him to not heal, but maybe. Okay, we made the hold.
Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
I live for a good fight.
I'm not sure his team would agree. Though I suppose they wouldn't be in a position to not agree.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Move out. Fuck you.
I need healing.
Fully healed.
Affirmative. We need to move the payload.
You don't need to peek this aggressively. Let your Reinhardt push. You don't. I don't want to push a pocketed McCree who has high ground advantage over me. Come on. Yeah, your Reinhardt's typing. That's annoying. I get it. But that doesn't mean you put yourself in danger. Back off. You're done. You're done. Why are you opening this angle? You're putting yourself in more risk. So your Reinhardt's DC'd. That's unfortunate. You don't open this angle putting yourself in more risk when you're down 2 people, 3 people now. You stay here and you know, throw right clicks, backing up, etc. Like, this is a reset, clearly. You don't want to open your angle to more danger from things over here, which happens to be a turret, but could be a McCree, a Torb, a Zen, etc.
Enemy has a turret.
Enemies re-engaging.
Where's your cover? I don't mind taking shots as long as you have cover available, but where's your cover? What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't peek. You were lucky they moved to Discord.
This is not the end.
That's what happens when you stand in a place with no cover available to you. If you're here, if you're standing right here, where are you going to go for cover? There's some cover here. There's some cover here. There's some cover over here. Those all suck, or there's some cover off screen over here. Huh. It's like 3 seconds to get to anything resembling cover. Now it's a little less if you use your jump maybe. You can get to like a second and a half to get to cover with an extremely predictable path. But yeah, of course you're gonna go down. Like you just have to respect sight lines and cover better than you are, just like you need to respect forward positioning better than you are. I'm liking that you're further back at least, but you want to be oh, but you want to be in places where you can peek from cover to do work, in places where you can peek from cover to do work, in places where you can be like up here and go, I throw right clicks, I have cover. I throw right clicks, I can do left clicks, I have cover. Maybe I transition over to here. I throw right clicks, left clicks, have cover, etc. That's what we're looking to do.
That, if I could make a suggestion, we should get the payload moving.
Damage increased.
Let me show you how it's done.
Yep, right click.
Heroes never die. This is not
It was a good lamp. It was a good lamp because you wanted a place that you had cover, but
Let's get the payload moving again, yeah?
I don't really like shifting as you're walking back into spawn. Like, as you're walking back into spawn, everyone's about to heal and spawn. You're just putting your shift on cooldown. They didn't need it.
Widowmaker here.
Going up. Fully healed.
Okay, so we have our 6. You've had this window for ages, but maybe you were holding it in case the Rhine came back.
Regen burst activated.
Yeah, so this isn't particularly good yet because your team. I like high ground, but I like high ground behind your team. This wasn't really behind your team yet. That's the thing. So like just like when you were up here and your team was behind you, I didn't like it. When you were here and your tanks were down behind you, I don't like it. Whereas I loved this high ground because your tanks were playing in this space, etc. Same thing. I don't like this when your tanks are here, but this or this is pretty good. Being up here when your tanks are here, pretty good. I like it. Being here when your tanks are here would be good. I'd like it. You have to look left if you're gonna, yeah. Why are you challenging this? You should not be the one pushing a flank by yourself, etc. Like, you can peek an angle, you can take a flank, etc., and peek a different angle than your team. That's not the worst thing in the world, but your team has to be threatening from other angles for that to work.
Enemy turret ahead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Enemy has a turret.
Good jump. You tried. We're just ignoring our widow. We're just ignoring our half-health widow. Okay.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Back up! Back up! Back up!
No one
Hide from my sight.
You have control of this, and you know that because your widow is up here. You also know that now because Infocytes just got popped. Back up, which now you're doing, so that you're not on top of the cart with Reinhardt. You can keep Reinhardt up for a very long time and contribute damage to people that get on Reinhardt if Reinhardt is on the cart. You cannot do that if you're also on the cart because they will get on you instead. If you're back here, it's harder. You wouldn't want to be back here if the enemy still had control of this, but they don't, and you should know that because, again, your widow's up here and isn't immediately going down, and B, she popped Infocyte for you, so now you can see where the opponents are.
Not your good as
Now, the only reason to push up would be to get this window off, which I'll accept, but you want to do that as you get closer. You'll want your window to go off like right here-ish, effectively. Depending on if they close early or not, you'll want your window to go right here-ish, and then you'll just laugh at things, and your team will win, and it'll be lovely.
Pass into the iris.
Would have found the other half of the house without BAP. You mean with Mercy? Yeah, because Mercy is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this game. Which is not to say that the Mercy is playing correctly. She's doing things like tunnel healing a hog here, etc., which is like, well, that's annoying. That's not really what we want our Mercy doing. But you can see before that, she was trying to work with the Widow to enable that, etc. So she understands her priority list. She's just having to break her priority list as best I can tell because, or excuse me, the discorded Reinhardt, because our BAP is not, we'll just say.
Heroes never die.
Okay. You still are going to window here because it's last fight. It's time to window. Like it is literally, I don't know why you're even looking this way. You're doing it to get that off, but you want to get a window down like this, like immediately in this direction. That would be a big deal. Okay. Where's the window? What are you doing? You can't go over here. You need to get your window down. Like, you have to rotate this way because you have to rotate to an angle that you can get your window down. This would be an okay, not great place to live in general. This would be better. And again, the reason this would be better is because this is, you can end up in situations where you're shooting at your team and then you're having to hard pivot to shoot at them, etc. You want to be in situations where you shoot at your team and it's smaller pivots, etc. And, you know, this will become that as time goes on. But I could live with this, but I can't live with this when you still have your window. You needed to get your window down, and you needed to get your window down in a way that is threatening roughly this direction so that your team can shoot through it and they can finish the point with it. And this is your chance to do so because you have Velt going, which gives you, hey, even more potential amplification, etc., but also gives your team some stability for you to take this slightly riskier position for a moment to put down a window that helps your team, etc. I mean, your other option is to put the window down up here, but I just don't like that. Like, a window for you and your Widow isn't as good as this window back here. But you know what? I'll live.
my turn. Let them out.
Yeah, they're just going to line of sight your window.
Get in here. Reach it up. You cannot defend.
I still don't like that you're out here. Things like this happen when you're out here. And you get Roadhog hooked and go down, and you don't even have a chance to lamp. I mean, I don't think you have lamp. I think you already used it, but you see my point. This is very bad positioning. You're frontlining relative to where they come back from, and timing-wise, yeah, they should be coming back now, and they are. This isn't a totally unusual amount of DPSing. I think if we went back and you watched the Zarya-Rein interaction, you would completely disagree, as we watched our 30 health Rein get bounced around and our, 20% Zarya get thrown around by a Primaling Monkey while he just shot at the Primaling Monkey. I think you would disagree. But that's okay. Okay. So the biggest things that you're going to run into here for working on your improvement is, first, it is going to be the positioning. You cannot hold up here when your tanks are back here. Like, you just cannot do that. It's not okay. I don't care that you're getting a Zarya bubble. I don't care that your Mercy is like, oh, I guess I'll help you out, etc. You can't do this when, hey, they've got a Hanzo up here, a Winston over here, Mercy over here. That is not space that you can control as BAP. You should not be in front of your team. Your kit just doesn't work very well for it. It means you have to use your self-healing stuff on yourself. Like, it is not a good situation. You generally want to be above and behind your team. If you're just behind them, I can live with it. If you're above them on an angle to the side where you can see both teams, I can live with it. But generally, you're looking for roughly above and behind your team. Please don't frontline. Please. Please don't frontline like this. Same thing over here. When your teams are back over here, etc., you should not be here. This isn't where you can go. You can be here once your team has claimed this space. That's okay. It didn't happen this match, but that's okay. You could also be over here. That would have been my preference. I could have lived with over here. That's, again, fine, etc. Over here, you can't be up here when your tanks are here. That's not a thing that can happen. It doesn't work. You're expected to be the tank healer in this support setup, but also this positioning just isn't very good for you. You can't pivot between your left and right clicks as you need to when you're like this, etc. So we need to fix the positioning first. That is going to be the biggest thing. Yes, you did. So you need to fix your positioning desperately, and I recommend you go back and watch the whole video. The second thing that I need you to fix is, hopefully, once you fix your positioning and you stop frontlining, you'll be positioning behind and above, to the side and above, etc., where it's easy for you to go, hey, I'm positioned correctly, so it's very easy for me to go left click, right click, left click, right click. These become much smaller pivots, and it's much easier to weave shots when you're like this, so that'll be easier for you once you position right. But even when you were in positions to do this, I was noticing, like here, that you were going, let me shoot the Winston 5 times, like, 5 different left clicks, etc., and then I'll try to right click my Zarya twice. And then I'll shoot the Winston 3 more times, and then I'll try to right click my Reinhardt once, etc. Like, you're looking to be doing the weaving. So the thing is, there's a delay between BAP's right clicks. There is, and you want to fill that delay with left click. That's what you're generally looking to do. Sometimes you have to go, hey, my person is at 20% health, they're critical, and I need to double up on right clicks. I don't have time to find a target to left click, etc. I don't want to hit the flick and then potentially be late hitting the flick back, etc. Totally fine. Get them up to like 40% health if you have to, maybe 50% health, and then go back to weaving, etc. And other times, your entire team is healthy, or someone's missing 20% health, but you can get a finish on a Pharah or something like that. Totally fine if you double up on a left click. But generally, your rule is you're trying to set yourself up in position so that you can alternate between left and right clicks easily, and that means positioning in places where the crosshair movement between enemy and friend is very minor, especially the tanks, because that's who you'll primarily be healing, especially in this setup. And you want to be you want to be getting that weave, etc. Again, it's fine if there's a bit of doubling up, tripling up, etc. when it makes sense, but when it makes sense is not when your team is, when everyone is low, you shouldn't be going, hey, I'm doing a bunch of left clicks in a row. When everyone is on the other hand, when everyone is full or near full, yes, you can go, hey, I'm going to keep hitting left clicks, etc. Maybe I'm going to let my other support do some work, etc. In this situation, letting your other support do work doesn't make sense because your other support is a Mercy who wants to pocket a Widow or Pharah. If your other support was an Ana, totally. You'd lean more into your left clicks and you'd go, hey, when people are 80%, 70%, whatever, especially if they're tanks, maybe I'll just let my Ana cap them up, etc. Totally fine. But you've got to be aware of what you're doing, who you're working with, etc., what you're bringing to the table, and the Mercy is bringing more poke to the table in this case by boosting a Pharah, for example, so you have to make sure you're on that tank healing while still getting your damage in there, etc. But you can't just go full damage mode the whole time, and you definitely can't go full damage mode in the front line the whole time. I hope that makes sense. Okay. If anyone has questions, you can go ahead and throw them up now, and I'll try to respond. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit, spreads the video, all sorts of good stuff. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what my rates look like for coaching, see what sort of events, promos, etc. we have going on or upcoming, all that good stuff. Uh, yeah, that's mostly true, Plat. He did hit some healing sometimes, but that is mostly true. The more common mistake I see is no damage at all. Yes, that is the more common mistake I see as well, Bryce. I see a lot more of, oh, it's a healer, and it's like Immortality Field is not enough utility by itself to bring to the game as BAP. You also have to bring damage. That is how his hero is balanced, etc. But this person's playing them more as a DPS that every once in a while gets a heal off, like more as like a soldier or a roadhog type thing, less as a support. Less as like a Zenyatta, which is more what it needs to be played as. Okay, with different healing target priority. Hio's Mercy set of batteries. Okay. Yes, that's comprehensive. Okay, hope that helped, Violet. And that's going to do it for now. I will probably hop into another review in the next 5 minutes, so hope to see you all soon. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.